Well, the ride is back, and you've probably heard commercials for it. You've probably been talking about it. Maybe you've been to the website, theridewi.org. That's theridewi.org. Of course, going to be taking place September 22nd. A fantastic opportunity, a great cycling fundraiser for cancer research. And we've got a great doctor on with us this morning, Dr. Randy Kimple. He is, of course, not only a doctor, but an associate professor in cancer research. Researcher from the UW Department of Human Oncology. Doctor, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Shawn. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us this morning. Now, you focus primarily on head and neck cancers, and let's talk a little bit about some of the research that goes on here in Wisconsin, and a little bit about the ride. And it's interesting because it's a pretty lofty goal for the ride. I mean, the ultimate goal here is to cure cancer. Am I right on that?
Absolutely. That's what we're all fighting for every day. We're working hard in the labs. We're out, learning from other people and collaborating and doing everything we can to make this a disease that people no longer have to fear.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the work that you do. What's kind of a day-to-day routine for you, or is there such thing as kind of a routine day for you, Doctor?
Oh, I don't know that there's much of a routine day for me. I spend one day a week seeing patients in the radiation oncology clinic at the Carbone Center over on the UW campus. And then the rest of my time I spent running a research lab where I direct 7 or 8 people trying to find better treatments for cancer. And really our main focus is understanding why the treatments we give to patients, why they stop working, and we have a lot of treatments that work very well, and then after 3 months or 6 months or 12 months, the cancer does something where it no longer works for those patients, and we're trying to understand why that is.
Interesting stuff. Talking this morning with Dr. Randy Kimple. He is, of course, talking a little bit about what he does, and, of course, getting ready for the ride. And, of course, you can go online, theridewi.org. That's theridewi.org. It's a cycling fundraiser for cancer research. And, by the way, there's a lot of opportunities up on the website to help out and progress some research here in Wisconsin and, of course, nationally and internationally as well. Even if you're like me, maybe you're not a cyclist, there's an opportunity to become a virtual rider. There's also a place online as well to donate on the website, which is theridewi.org. That's theridewi.org. And Doctor, you mentioned the Carbone Cancer Center right here in Madison. A lot of people may not be aware of the facility, and it's not just an area treasure. It's not just a state treasure. It is a national. It's nationally recognized. Let's talk a little bit about the Carbone Cancer Center and what that place is.
Absolutely, the Carbone is really an incredibly special place where we bring together clinicians, researchers, scientists, all focused on beating cancer, finding better treatments, better ways to diagnose cancer, ways to find cancer earlier when they're easier to treat, and also focusing on patients who we may not have cures for, but focusing on how we can improve the quality of life for those patients as well. We recruit, physicians and scientists from all over the world to come work at Wisconsin, and it's been I've been at UW for 10 years now, and it's been a honor and a pleasure and a privilege to be part of this team. Everybody's headed in the same direction.
Very, very interesting stuff. Joined this morning by Associate Professor and Cancer Researcher Dr. Randy Kimple, of course, getting things ready for the ride taking place September 22nd. Again, online, theridewi.org. And I think this is the 4th annual event taking place. Let's talk a little bit about the money generated from the ride and from other options. Obviously, the research that you do is very cutting edge, and it's very involved. It doesn't come cheap, and obviously money is always needed. Let's talk a little bit about some of the past events and kind of how that money is applied and how you guys are able to make things happen at the Carbone Center and, of course, through your research.
Yeah, so the majority of cancer research around this country that's performed at places like the Carbone Center is funded through the National Institutes of Health, the NIH, and the National Cancer Institute. But those funds are really dedicated to well-developed, sort of almost certain to work research projects. And what the ride has enabled us to do is to start funding things that are a little higher risk and hopefully higher reward, and to provide pilot funds so that investigators like myself or my colleagues can get funding from other sources. It really is a way to amplify the efforts and the opportunities that we have available to us.
Very good. And so far, the ride has raised nearly $1 million for cancer research, and of course, expecting to have a big year this year as well. Dr. Randy Kimple, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all the great work you do. Thank you for choosing Madison, and thank you for joining us this morning.
My pleasure, Shawn. Thank you, and hopefully we'll see everybody out on the course.
That should be a lot of fun. Dr. Randy Kimple this morning joining us. Don't forget, again, that's September 22nd, of course, hosted at AmFam headquarters, their campus out on the east side. So, again, as we mentioned, raised nearly $1 million for cancer research so far. 100% of all the dollars raised go directly to UW Cancer Research. Now, again, I mentioned earlier, if you're like me, maybe not a big bike rider, there's a virtual ride. There's also 5 different route distances. To be honest, if you know how to ride a bike, there is something for everyone. There's a 5, a 17, a 34, a 63, and a 102-mile route involved with this. Again, all the money goes to UW Grant, and of course, they go to help programs and other research on cancer. Again, get more information, the website, theridewi.org. That's theridewi.org. You can get registered there. You can make a donation there. Again, this is taking place September 22nd.